What's up, HVAC pros? In today's episode, we're going to talk about bad apples. No, not bad apples, bad employees. And we're going to get to it right now. So I started talking, and I said bad apples, and everybody, it was funny, bad apples. No, we're not going to talk about bad apples. We're going to talk about bad employees that become bad apples. So in your business or anybody's business, you always have that one employee that decides that he doesn't want to go with the flow. He doesn't want to, help out. He doesn't feel that, he wants to do anything. You ask him to get something done and he doesn't want to do it. There's, there's, there's so many different aspects of bad apples or bad employees. And what does a bad employee do? Well, it causes the morale of every other employee to come down. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. I own a HVAC company. I have four employees now, and I've grown that up, to where it is right now. Well, the last year and a half, I've pretty much have babied this employee. And when I say babied, let's start off with he has a problem, which it's a condition, and it's an anxiety condition, which I understand. Look, and I know a lot of us go through anxiety. I know a lot of us have it. So I've pretty much been lenient with it because of that. But every 3 to 6 months, it seems like a roller coaster. And that roller coaster goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. So every 3 to 6 months, he comes to me and says, I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice. So he did it the first time. So I had to go and I went and talked to him. What's going on? What's happening? I want to buy a house. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, well, money's an object. I don't feel like I'm getting this or I'm getting that. So we made a deal, and the deal, he accepted the deal. So he stayed working for us. About 3 to 6 months later, happens again. That roller coaster went up and then it started to come down again. So now we're back down in the rut, and of course it's about money. It's about, I can't do this, or my girlfriend wants me to do this and I can't afford to do this. I want to put a garage up. I want to, all these other things. And so we talk about it. I give him a raise. I give, some other things. Okay, fine. He's okay. He stays. Now, in the meantime, he is one of my main guys. When I say main guys, he's probably one of ones that I rely on the most because of his knowledge. And he does good work, and he does have good knowledge, and he gets things done. But I always feel as a business owner I'm being held hostage to this one employee. And I felt this way for quite some time. And my thing is, no business should be held hostage to one employee per se. So if you have one of those bad apples, if you have one of those employees that you just feel like no matter what you do, of course I feel violated, I feel frustrated, I feel like I've been taken advantage of, because every time he wanted something, this last time was like, well, I'm going to go out and do my own thing, and I'm going to do my own side work, and I'm going to be able to make more money. It's like, okay, well, if that's what you feel like you're going to do. So I went up to his house, and I basically had to talk with him, and I said, what's the real deal here? And the real deal, again, was money. So what I'm starting to see is he's having a hard time managing money. So I said to him, okay, look, let's put something together for you. Let's do a bonus structure so we can put something so you can make the money you need to make. Oh yeah, that sounds really good. And then he wants a truck to take home. Okay, well, we gave him the truck to take home. Now, the truck cost me $100 in gas, both ways. So it's costing me money. Now, during the summertime, I don't mind technicians doing work for their immediate family. If their immediate family says, hey, my AC broke and they need a new unit and they want to, the technician needs to go do, I'm okay with that. As long as you come to me and say, hey, look, this is for. The problem was that this summer, it seemed like every 2 months he was putting a new system in somebody's home. So I started to think to myself, okay, well, I put a bonus structure together that if he brings a new system in, that he could get a percentage of that job. He then turned around and basically, when I brought it up to him, he said, well, they don't have the money. Well, they have the money to buy the equipment. They have the money to pay you to do it. So why don't they have the money so you can make extra money in your pocket, more than what you're making, and not have the headache? Well, he doesn't see it that way. He sees it like everybody doesn't have any money. So when he came back this last time after putting a bonus structure together, he was gung-ho on the bonus structure. I mean, he was bringing in some pretty hefty paychecks. In the meantime of that, all of a sudden the sales started dropping off. So he stopped doing sales and those paychecks came down. Now here where we're at, we go through a season where, it's not super hot, it's not super cold. We're just in between that right now. In the month of November, which is very unusual for here. Month of November, we're probably seeing 68-degree weekends. So people open up the windows. So we don't have a lot of heat calls and we don't have a lot of, air conditioning calls. So, he hasn't gotten exactly 40 hours, but he's gotten over 32 hours. So he's got between 35 and 39 hours. Well, okay, well, that obviously wasn't good enough for him. Even when he wasn't, we didn't have the scheduled work for him, I was having him do other things. I would, go do this or go do that and take care of this so he could get his hours. So I felt like I was doing everything possible to obviously make him happy and keep him here. And I get a call this Sunday that basically said, you're not going to like this. And I'm like, well, what do you mean I'm not going to like it? Of course, anytime somebody starts that conversation off like that, it's going to be detrimental. It's going to be, he's like, oh, how you doing? And, trying to butter me up. And then, so he hits me with, well, I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice in. And at this point, I really don't care. I don't. I feel like you've taken enough advantage of me. You've taken enough advantage of my company. You've taken enough advantage of, holding my company hostage, because that's pretty much what you've done. Every time there was a problem and he didn't want to come in, he'd take 2-3 days off, and now all my customers have to, they have to wait. Or I would have to go out there and get back in the truck and go do it. And that's not really fair. So, if you have, it's come to that point right now, it's time to cut ties. It's time to move on. Because I was in limbo of whether he's going to show up this day, he's not going to show up this day. He calls and says I'm going to be late on Monday, but I don't know when I'm going to come in, but I'm just going to be late after he gives us 2 weeks notice. So again, we already had stuff scheduled for Monday, and he held my company hostage for that Monday for the schedule. So, in a business, you can't have that. You should always have a backup, which the backup's me, obviously. But the fact of the matter is, no business owner should be held hostage to his own business. So if you have one of those bad apples, my suggestion to you is put something else in place that if something like that happens, that it doesn't affect your business in a negative way. Because it affected mine. Because right now, like I said, we're between seasons. Everybody that's worth something in this business is working. Anybody that is worth, is weight in gold, the company's holding on to them. Until it comes to a point where they go multiple weeks with very little work, and then they start laying people off or letting people go. And if they're going to let somebody go, they're pretty much going to let the lower guys go. So, and the lower guys meaning the less experienced ones, which could be a good pickup for a company that can train them the right way. But you're going to have somebody in this business with at least a little common sense, number one. And number two, have good diagnostic skills. They got to be able to diagnose stuff. That's the crucial, that is one of the crucial things in this business that has to be, that a technician has to have. He's got to have a good outlook on life. You can't come to work every day, oh, my son's just so, good morning. Good morning. Have an upbeat, because that is the reflection of your company. So when that employee goes out there, or he's with another employee, and I just see this happen because I have another employee that came to me yesterday and started talking about a bunch of different things, and I'm like, well, how did you hear about all this? Well, the cancer of the bad apple is now trying to rot the other apples, and thinking that these apples should be worth more than what they're doing, and it's creating a huge cancerous effect in a business. So my point to this conversation is, if you have that bad apple, you need to get rid of it relatively quickly, or it's going to spoil the other bad apples. I can't stress this enough because it's happening to me currently right now. So I want to really put this out to anybody that's a business owner in this field or any field whatsoever. You're going to have that one employee that just, no matter what you do, it's not going to be good enough. No matter what you do, he can tell you to your face that it's nothing personal, or they have zero loyalty to you. They have zero loyalty to growing with a company that they want to grow with. Everybody wants immediate satisfaction. Trust me, I do too. But building a business doesn't give you immediate satisfaction. Building a business takes time. Either you're along for that ride and you want to see that future, or you don't. And a lot of guys in this business don't. They don't see that future. They want immediate satisfaction. I want to be paid top dollar, but they don't want to work for the top dollar. Or they don't want to do the extras that's required to do the top dollar. And I see this a lot in this business. And believe you, it's mind-blowing to think that a guy could come into a business with a piece of paper that says, I know everything, but you get him out in the field and they know nothing. And I'm not saying that this employee doesn't know stuff. He does. He's very knowledgeable at what he does. He's very good at what he does. But the market dictates what the pay is in this area. That's just the way it is. If you want to make more money, then you need to step outside the box. If the company makes more money, then employees make more money. But again, it's that train that if you just get on it in New York and expect to be in Virginia in 2 seconds, it doesn't work that way. You get on a plane and fly from Virginia to Miami, you're not there in a split second. No business grows in a split second like that. A business gradually grows, or grows exponentially to a growth pattern. Most businesses that grow super fast like that normally get top heavy and fall over, or something happens. So a business that grows gradually and gets that from point A to point B in a gradual progression will be the business that's going to survive. The businesses that survive are the ones that are going to be there for the long term. But the one sad part about is employees, they don't realize that. They don't realize that it takes a lot to run a business. They think about their hourly pay and how much that they can make is great. But what about what the business has to pay on the back end? They got to pay 7.5% of their, taxes. Has to pay insurance on the vehicles. Has to pay to open up the doors for the lights and electricity. Has to pay materials. Has to pay workman's compensation insurance. Has to pay general liability insurance. Has to pay automobile insurance. All these things are what they call overhead in a business. But most of the employees don't see that. They see, oh, he installed the motor for $500, and that's the monies that he just made $500. Well, what they don't realize is how much that motor actually cost. And that variable speed motor is $392. And you pay a guy an hour to go out there and diagnose it. Then you pay him to go to the supply warehouse to pick it up. Then you pay him to go back and install it. When you're all said and done, and I pay an administrator to bill it, I got to turn the lights on. By the time you're said and done, the business might have made $30 to $40 off of that motor install. So they don't understand how that tier of business works. And I will say this, and this, look, I've been in this business for over 25 years. A guy that jumps ship because of money is a guy that will continue to burn bridges as he goes. Because at this point right now, after everything I have done, I'm not doing it no more. And I pretty much told him point blank, this is the end of the road for us. There will be no coming back. The door will not be open. And not because he's trying to better himself, it's because the pattern doesn't change. And as long as the pattern doesn't change, the pattern of the behavior will continue. So he's going to another HVAC company, which, okay, that's fine. If you're going to better yourself, I would understand. If you said you're leaving us to go work for the government because they offer pensions and all this other stuff, I would say yes. He's going to another company to work up in a very trafficked area that's going to take him X amount of time to be stuck in traffic. I know I didn't want to be there. It's up in the north. I didn't want to go there, so my business is in the south, so I could be home with my family for dinner. I could, that's what my values are. My values, I want to be home at night, have dinner with my family. I'm a family-oriented person. And he has kids too. And, I would have thought that would be important to him, but I guess not. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. We don't both have to have the same morals and values. But what I'm saying is that by the time he goes there for that extra $1 or $2 that he's going to get an hour, and he spends in traffic, or he has to drive his vehicle there in gas, then he's not making any more money. He's not making any, when you actually sit down and think about it. We talk about, okay, so for instance, think about this $15 an hour minimum wage they want to change. Well, who do you think's going to pay for that? What people don't realize that, okay, so you made let's say the minimum wage is $7. Now you're making 15. Well, where does that put you in the income tax bracket? It just raised you up 2 tax brackets. So what does that do? It takes more taxes out of your check. Then what happens? Well, you're getting less money now in your paycheck because you're paying more in taxes. And you don't get all that back at the end of the year if you don't have enough deductions. So the government gets your money. Or the businesses that you work for now have to raise their labor rates and their financial rates to compensate for the $15 an hour. So that has to go to the customer now. So now the customer pays more for your service for the employee to get paid that minimum wage of $15 an hour. So what are businesses going to do? We're already seeing it. What is your local grocery store doing? What is Walmart doing? They're doing self-checkouts. Why? Because they don't have to pay somebody to stand there. They don't have to pay somebody the $15 an hour minimum wage. Go into a McDonald's now and they have a kiosk in the middle of the floor that you punch your order into. They don't have to pay somebody. They've been testing this for quite some time. Unfortunately, we're in the service business, and we don't have the availability to do that. But it's coming. It's coming. There is a device out there right now that can be hooked up to your HVAC system that will alert me when something's wrong. That's right. It's a 24-hour monitoring system that hooks directly up to your HVAC system. And it monitors that system 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if there's a hiccup in that system, I get notified. The customer gets notified immediately, as soon as that hiccup happens. So I'm telling you, the technology in the world is moving, and it's moving tremendously fast. And because of that, we have to stay up on this technology. And it's going to be to the point where you're going to be asking for technology to control everything. I mean, look at your thermostats, the Nest thermostats, the Ecobees, I know I'm leaving one out here. Honeywell's got them too. Alexa, everything in our homes controlled by Alexa, controlled by this device or Google device. It's all moving that way, folks. It's all moving to electronically controlled stuff, where you're not even going to need anybody. They're going to press a button and turn your light off just like that. They're going to press a button and turn your coffee pot on. It's moving that way. Same thing in our industry, in the HVAC. It's moving. It's moving so fast that a lot of us are not seeing it. But there's a device out there now that hooks up to your indoor and outdoor air conditioning or air handler or heat pump, and it monitors it 24/7. Sends a report back every week. And because of that, you're not going to need anybody to come out there every day. You won't need anybody to come out there every 6 months or 8 months unless there's a problem. Because everything at that point is going to be done remotely. We're going to be able to see in real time what's going on with your system or what failed. It's moving that way quickly, very quickly. But back to that, the bad apples. If you have one, look, my suggestion to you is immediately, as soon as you identify that there's an issue, find a replacement. Get some people in there. I'm behind the curve because I didn't, I should have been interviewing people and checking out. So when he decided to leave, we have an ad out there right now that we're running for technicians. So if you happen to see this video and you're in the Virginia area, South Virginia area, and you might be looking for a career change to a, company, look us up. We're hiring. But I want to come to you today because of that. I mean, you need to nip that in the bud relatively quickly. And I will say this to you. Most employees do not have loyalty to your company. They don't have loyalty to you. They have loyalty to themselves. They don't see the same vision that you see. They don't see the same dream. They want immediate satisfaction right away, right now. And we all know in business it doesn't work that way. So that's my tip. You got any bad apples in your group, make sure weed them out and get rid of them, because they're bad apples that will infect the rest of the bad apples. So it will act as cancer, and your good apples will end up being bad employees. That's a tip from the D&L guy. If you got any questions, look us up there at YouTube, D&L Mechanical Services. You can check us out there. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on, we're even on Parler. Where else are we on? We're all over Virginia. D&L guys there. We got our a group page there on Facebook called the Fredericksburg Homeowners Advocacy Group. Come on and join us over there because we're having a lot of fun with homeowners, teaching them, tips and tricks and things to do with their homes. We got some landscapers in there. We got some realtors in there. We got mortgage people in there. We got we're getting ready to add some plumbers and construction people, and we got an electrician in there. We're having a great time. So come on over there and join us there on that Facebook group. But till next time, thanks a lot. I greatly appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if this video helped you. Leave a comment below. I greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button. and that bell so you'll get notified every time that we put out new content. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.